The past few days, we've been talking about the NFL draft a lot and the stuff going on in the NFL, and it seems like you guys are enjoying the videos, or maybe I could be wrong. Maybe you're not enjoying them. To me right now, one of the most, if not the most intriguing situation in the entire NFL is Baker Mayfield. It doesn't seem like anyone wants him. The Browns don't want him. He doesn't want to be with the Browns, but also nobody wants to trade for him. There's no market. It's a very sticky situation, and I think most of you know what I'm talking about, and we're on the same page. Is Baker Mayfield trash? No. Is he elite? Is he great? No. He's somewhere between average and good. On a scale of 1 through 10, he's not a 5, he's not a 7, he's a 6. He's not great. He could be great, but he's not quite there. That's why I think a lot of these teams, they're not necessarily scared of picking up Baker Mayfield. They just don't see the benefits. He's not a bridge quarterback. He's not a guy you bring in for 1 to 2 years until you can draft your franchise guy, but he's also not that franchise guy. He's not a great leader. He's too immature for the quarterback position, and like I said in last night's video, you can go watch that for yourself. In the NFL, you can't get away with that. They want a businessman at the quarterback position. Can you be cocky? Can you have that slight ego to you and succeed in the NFL at the quarterback position? Yes, I'm sure you can. Let's just look at the cold hard facts. The guys who tend to succeed at that quarterback position, they're not too cocky. They come in, they do what they need to do, and they try to stay out of the spotlight. Josh Allen, businesslike. Justin Herbert, businesslike. Tom Brady, businesslike. Joe Burrow, yeah, he could be cocky, maybe. I don't think he's cocky, but if you want to say he is, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But he's not arrogant, and he doesn't rub you the wrong way like Mayfield does. Who are some of the other top 10 or top 12 quarterbacks? Matt Stafford, not cocky, businesslike. Mahomes, businesslike. Russell Wilson, businesslike. Derek Carr, I don't think he's elite quite yet, but he's still businesslike, and he could be. Although I think the Mayfield is the most intriguing topic out of them all, there's another young quarterback who is facing a ton of pressure and things are heating up fast. I've seen some people talk about this here and there, but not to the extent that I'm about to. That other young quarterback I'm talking about and referring to is Zach Wilson, the quarterback for the New York Jets. How do I say this nicely? The Jets suck. The Jets have been awful the past few years, and I can't even remember the last time they were relevant. Outside of 2019 where they went 7-9, it's been terrible. I would say ever since 2015 they've been just really bad. So overall, I think we can collectively agree the past 6 years, 7 years, it hasn't been so good. There's a big problem with that. When you're in New York City with a big market team like the Jets, you need to be relevant. In the United States, it is very key for your big market teams to be good. It matters a ton for ratings. If you have good ratings, then the business thrives and it makes everybody happy. When the business thrives, it just makes everything better. For example, look at the Los Angeles Lakers. There's a reason you see more Lakers games on TV than Memphis Grizzlies. It's a big market team, and the same thing can apply to the Rams. A lot of people are in these cities, or a lot of people are fans of these teams in New York or LA. You've also got a lot of people who are rooting against these teams and want to see them fail, so even if you're a hater, it's still increasing the ratings. Theoretically speaking, when the New York Giants, the New York Jets, they don't make the playoffs, it's not good. The NFL is a little different from the NBA because America, we love football, and they're always going to have good ratings in the NFL postseason. So do I think it matters a ton if the Jets suck for the next 10 years or the Giants suck for the next 10 years? Not really. But here's what I think does matter. There's still slightly more pressure in these cities than there would be in Denver, Colorado. In Denver, in Minnesota, for the Carolina Panthers, teams like that, there's not too much pressure to succeed right away. There is to a certain extent, but it's not as much as these big market teams, and I think we can all agree with that. Believe it or not, the Jets surprisingly have a strong fan base. And I say surprisingly because if you're not from New York, you wouldn't understand why somebody in their right mind would even root for this team. If you're from that area, you understand that the Jets do have a lot of fans. Like I said though, if you're from California and you've been watching the Jets for the past 10 to 20 years, it wouldn't make a lick of sense to even root for this team. And I'm talking about even if you are from the area. They haven't been that good historically speaking, and they make terrible decisions on draft night. The Jets are notorious for making some of the stupidest and outrageous picks of all time. How a team can screw up the draft that many times, I don't know, but they somehow find a way to do it. However, that was the case up until this year's draft. They didn't just not mess up, they did really good. Whoa, hold on. I know what you're sitting there saying, yo, Matt, they had 3 first-round picks. You can't screw that up, and I agree. Fortunately enough for the Jets, there was no way possible they could have screwed it up. I still want to give the front office some credit because whenever they do bad, we criticize them, so I think it's only right when they do a good job, even if there's no way but to do a good job, you got to give them some respect. Ladies and gentlemen, here's where things really, and I mean really, get interesting. In the first overall round, they picked up Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, who's a stud wide receiver, and Jermaine Johnson. In the second round with the 36th overall pick, they picked up a running back from Iowa State, Breece Hall, who some feel like could be a great running back one day. In the next round, they picked up a tight end from Ohio State that goes by the name of Jeremy Ruckert. One round after that, what do you know? They pick up an offensive tackle from Louisiana. And then with their final and last pick, they picked up a defensive end from Texas A&M, Michael Clemens. I know what you're sitting there saying. Yo, Matt, I saw the draft. What does any of that matter? What does that have to do with the situation going on? Last year for Zach Wilson, it was rough and it was bumpy at times, but that's how you expect any rookie season to go. Look at Trevor Lawrence for the Jaguars. He struggled early on and he got better as the year continued to go on. He wasn't great by any means, but he was slowly getting better. He's a rookie, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's much different from being a freshman in college than a rookie in the NFL. It's two different ball games. For Zach Wilson last year in the Jets, he passed for 2,300 yards, had 9 touchdowns to 11 interceptions, and a miserable quarterback rating of 28.2. He was 30th in the league in yards, he was 29th in touchdowns, he was 15th with interceptions, and 30th in total QBR. You look at those numbers on the paper and you say, yo, this dude's terrible, we got a bust. That's why I'm not too big on the box score and the stats. I do like to read off stats here and there, but that's only so you can get a perspective. I'm not going to be delusional and say they don't mean nothing at all, because they do mean something. That's why we keep up with them. But there is some circumstances where they don't tell you the complete story. Am I trying to say that Zach Wilson, he was good last year? Heck no, he was awful at times. Let's just keep it a bean. This man was flat out pitiful at times early on in the year. Remember though, he's a rookie quarterback playing for a terrible team in a terrible franchise. You see those numbers right here, 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. But here's what you didn't see if you just looked at the stats. In his first 8 games of the year, he threw 11 interceptions. In his final 5 games, he didn't throw a single one. That's good. If you're in the front office, you're like, okay, we're getting somewhere. He's improving. He also didn't have the best offensive line in the world, like he wasn't playing for the Browns or anything, and he didn't have that many weapons. I'm not going to say he was playing with terrible wide receivers and terrible running backs, but he wasn't getting that much help. Let me put it this way. I don't think any quarterback playing for the Jets last year would have had a great season. You can say what you want, say, oh, Tom Brady, he would have led him to a 9-7 record at least. But I don't know. I think that's pushing it. You can be the greatest player in the world. You can be LeBron James. You can be Michael Jordan, anybody, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal. But you got to have some help. Last year, the Jets weren't really set up to succeed around Zach Wilson. They're playing more of the long game. The reason I brought up their draft picks is because it sends a message not only to their fans, but to Zach Wilson. Normally, in most circumstances with rookie quarterbacks, they're going to give them 3-4 years to see if they're a bust or not. After watching the draft, I think it's clear and evident. The Jets are sending a strong message to Wilson and saying, hey, buddy, you got 1 year to prove if you're our guy or not, because if you don't have a good year, we're going to move on. This year coming up for Wilson, it's make or break. If he doesn't have a good year, they're going to move on. But if he has a good year, he'll continue to be the franchise guy. That's where we start to come into some problems, because I don't really see him going out there and balling out and dropping 40 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. I think for anybody to sit up here and say that he's going to completely turn around his numbers and be a top 15 quarterback in the league, I just think you're insane. That's not going to happen. What more than likely is going to happen is he'll have 25 touchdowns and maybe 12, 13 interceptions, throw for 3,000, 3,500 yards, and they'll go, what is it, like 5-13? No, 5-12, something like that. And that's where things start to heat up between Zach Wilson and the Jets. It's already been stated. Everybody knows this. The biggest winner from the draft was Zach Wilson. Look at all the weapons they surrounded this dude with. They got him one of the best wide receivers. They got him one of the best running backs and one of the best tight ends. If you're Zach Wilson, you literally can't ask for more. We're now to the point next year where there's not going to be this rookie excuse and no weapons excuse. If he doesn't succeed, they're going to give him the boot. This isn't me throwing out some crazy hot take. It's cold hard facts. I want you to look at this. Look at the change of the roster in a 2-year span. Here's the potential star weapons they're going to have on offense. You got Zach Wilson, Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Elijah Moore, who's underrated in my opinion, Garrett Wilson, who's going to be a stud. You got Corey Davis, CJ Uzomah, you got Conklin, and then you got Ruckert. Is the offensive line the best in the NFL? I don't know about that, but I also don't think they're like the Bengals. They can get the job done. I think Zach Wilson knows this. The Jets are sending him a message and saying, hey man, we're going to surround you with everything we can. Now it's up to you. Will Zach Wilson live up to the hype? Will he live up to the expectations? It's hard to tell right now. I get it. Last year was bad. I'm admitting that. I even think he'd admit that. Me personally, when it comes to the NFL, I can't write off a player after only 1 year. Now, if he has a terrible season next year, we're having a completely different conversation. But that'll be year 2. I got to see what he does this up and coming season. Man, oh man, I got to tell you guys something. I know it's kind of off topic. Well, not really. I love them Ohio State wide receivers. Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, them dudes can ball, man. I love me some Garrett Wilson. He's got a smooth game. If I'm a Jets fan, I'd be getting excited. I don't want to say they're a dark horse team to make the playoffs, but here's what I am going to say. I wouldn't be shocked if they finished the year 9-8 or 10-7. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked by it because I understand it. They got good players. The only thing holding the Jets back right now and the biggest question mark is the quarterback play. We've seen it with Joe Burrow. And I've said this from college football to the NFL, you're only going to go as far as your quarterback will take you. Can Zach Wilson lead this team to the promised land? I guess we'll have to see and only time will tell. I'm very curious. Well, let me know your thoughts down below, but with all these,